Well, pilgrims, it's time for Bible reading. Today, it's Genesis chapter 41. Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dreams. God does. And he gives the interpretation to Joseph, and Joseph gives it to Pharaoh. After 2 whole years, Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing by the Nile, and behold, there came up out of the Nile 7 cows, attractive and plump, beautiful cows, and they fed in the reed grass. And behold, 7 other cows, ugly, thin, they came up out of the Nile after them, and they stood by the other cows on the bank of the Nile. And the ugly, the thin cows, wow, ate up the 7 attractive, plump cows. Well, that's unnatural. That must be a miracle. In a dream. And Pharaoh awoke, and he fell asleep, and he dreamed a second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn, plump and good. They were growing on one stalk. And behold, after them sprouted 7 ears, thin and blighted by the east wind. In the thin ears they swallowed up the 7 plump, full ears. And Pharaoh awoke. That was a strange dream. And behold, it was a dream. So in the morning his spirit was troubled, and he sent and he called for all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men, worldly wise men. Pharaoh told him his dream, but there was none. That means no one who could interpret them to Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer, he said to Pharaoh, I remember my offenses today. Yeah, what were his offenses? He forgot. Made a promise to Joseph, and he forgot it. Well, when Pharaoh was angry with his servants, and he put me and the chief baker in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, we dreamed on the same night, he and I, each one having a dream with its own interpretation. And there was a young Hebrew there. Well, he was there with us, and he's a servant of the captain of the guard. And when we told him, he interpreted our dreams to us, giving an interpretation to each man according to his dream. And as he interpreted to us, so it came about. It happened. I was restored to my office, and the baker, he was hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they quickly brought him in. They brought him out of the pit. And when he had shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came in before Pharaoh. And Joseph said to Pharaoh, No. Boy, I've had a hard morning. And Pharaoh, he said to Joseph, I've had a dream. And there's no one who can interpret it. I've heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Well, Joseph, he answered Pharaoh, it's not in me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. Well, there's sort of a lesson there. When God does something, give him credit for it. Then Pharaoh, he said to Joseph, Behold, in my dream I was standing on the banks of the Nile. There were 7 cows, plump and attractive. They came up out of the Nile, and they fed in the reed grass. Happy day, I thought. Then 7 other cows came up after them, poor, very ugly, thin, such as I'd never seen in all the land of Egypt. And then the thin, ugly cows, they ate up the first 7 plump cows. But when they'd eaten them, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were still as ugly as at the beginning. Then I woke up. I awoke. I also saw in my dream 7 ears growing up on one stalk, full and good, beautiful corn ears. 7 ears, withered, thin, blighted by the east wind, sprouted after them. And the thin ears, they swallowed up the 7 good ears. And I told it to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me. Then Joseph, he said to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dreams are one. The 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears they were blighted by the east wind. Those are also 7 years of famine. It is as I told Pharaoh. God has shown to Pharaoh what he's about to do. There will come 7 years. There will come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt, but after them there will arise 7 years of famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will consume the land, and the plenty will be unknown in the land. By reason of the famine it'll follow, or it'll be very severe." And the doubling of Pharaoh's dream means that the thing is fixed by God, and God will shortly bring it about. So, Pilgrim, when you read in the Bible, God says things 2 or 3 or times or more, you believe he means it. It's important. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh select a discerning and a wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers over the land and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 plentiful years. Let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities. Let them keep it. That food shall be a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to occur in the land of Egypt, so that the land may not perish through the famine. So this proposal, it pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, "Can we find a man like this in whom is the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has shown you all this, there's none so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards the throne will I be greater than you." And Pharaoh, he said to Joseph, "See, I've set you over all the land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh, he took his signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. Authority. And he clothed him in garments of fine linen, and he put a gold chain about his neck, and he made him ride in his 2nd chariot. And they called out before him, "Bow the knee, bow the knee." Thus he set him over all the land of Egypt. Prime Minister, I guess. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I am Pharaoh, and without your consent no one shall lift up hand or foot in all the land of Egypt." And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphenath-Paneah, and he gave him in marriage Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. So Joseph, he went out over the land of Egypt. Well, Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph, he went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Egypt. And during the 7 plentiful years the earth produced abundantly. And he gathered up all the food of these 7 years which occurred in the land of Egypt, and he put the food into cities. And he put in every city the food from the fields around it. And Joseph, he stored up grain in great abundance, like the sand of the sea, until he ceased to measure it, for it couldn't be measured. Before the year of famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph. Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore them to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for he said, "God has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's house." The name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. God take care of his people. The 7 years of plenty that occurred in the land of Egypt, they came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph had said. There was famine in all the lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread, saved up by Joseph's order, because of God's forewarning. When all the land of Egypt was famished, people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph. What he says to you, do." So when the famine had spread over all the land, Joseph, he opened all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. Moreover, all the earth came to Egypt, to Joseph, to buy grain, because the famine was severe over all the earth. And the stage is set for what's about to happen. Yep, Abraham was told that his kids would end up going down to Egypt for 400 years. The stage is set. God bless, Pilgrim. See you later. With the devotion, I hope. God bless. See you later.